This is How to Souls in Shadow of the Erdtree, and today we're going to look at my personal favourite boss in this whole DLC, Messmer the Impaler. This boss is absolutely amazing. I love him so much. And once you realise how to dodge all of his crazy combos, hopefully you'll love him too. So I played through this game as a mage, as a ranged spellcaster, but most of the mechanics are going to have relevance to any build. The way that you avoid his attacks and the short time windows in between that you can return attack are going to be basically the same for any build. So because we're going to be looking at my winning attempt at this boss, you will see me using the Carrion Regal Scepter as a weapon. However, I do recommend using Lusat's Glintstone Staff. The Carrion Scepter is good if you're using full moon sorceries, so I just use it like throughout the game, like for all your wee bosses and stuff anyway, but I do think boss fights, Lusat's Staff, if you have enough mind, enough FP, it's just the best. It's just got the highest damage. Armor wise, the only thing that really matters is the hat. I mean, obviously you want to wear armor because if you get hit, you will get hit less if you are wearing armor, but it doesn't really matter what you're wearing as long as you can medium roll or light roll even. But hat wise, very important for a sorcerer, I'm wearing the Frost Witch set, mostly for fashion, but also because I really like the frost spells. I love Glintstone Icecrag and how fast it is, and I love building up Frostbite and stuff like that, but that's a personal preference. In my Flask of Physique, we have the Windy Crystal tier and the Opaline Hard tier. These are my two defensive sort of tiers. If you are getting to the stage where you're cool like dodging him, but you just like need more damage, you can go for more damaging tiers, but I found it better to be a bit more defensive for this boss because of the amount of chip damage I was taking, a lot. Talismans wise, I used the Radigan Icon for cast speed, the Graven Mass Talisman for sorcery damage, the Flame Drake Talisman +3, which you can pick up here in the Realm of Shadow, and either the Magic Scorpion Charm for damage or the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman for defense. You'll know if you want a bit more physical defense or if you want a bit more magic damage. I think you'll have a feeling which one you want to change out there. So that's my build. We're now going to talk about the actual boss fight. We're going to go through each of his main attacks, how to avoid them, and which ones are good to attack in turn after. You can't trade with this boss. It doesn't work that way. Messmer's opening is always the same in my many attempts at doing him. He always opens with this sort of jumping, targeted explosion. This has a really good like time indication of when to dodge because he has like a pulse where he goes like shh, and you'll know when you see that he's about to like land on you. So as soon as you see the pulse, that's when you know to roll. Once the sound effect ends, okay, so let me just play the sound on this clip here. Okay, so you'll get the pulse, you roll, avoid the first charge. Once the explosion from that first charge is over, once the sound effect ends, you roll again. That's the length of the beat that you have to wait. So you roll, explosion, roll, and then the second explosion will miss you. I personally found this was a good place to get 2 Adulla's Moonblades in to start racking up that Frostbite. But yeah, this is a good place to get a couple of attacks in after he does this targeted explosion. He does do it like very rarely in the fight, but if you ever see it happen, you know it's going to be a good time to counterattack or to heal or drink mana, whatever you need to do. In general, with this fight, stamina management is very important. I personally found it easy enough to roll. I wasn't really blocking. And when you are rolling, if you roll towards him rather than away from him, because he does have a lot of attacks that sort of send out shooting flames which come towards you. Therefore, if you roll backwards, you can actually get hit by the flames. You can avoid his weapon, but then the flame will hit you, which is annoying. So just try and get in the habit. It was quite hard for me because it's quite scary, of rolling towards him rather than away from him. Back and forth kind of thing, back and forth, as a mage anyway. This boss is all about learning the timings of things. Always expect everything to have that small little beat of delay. I mean, that's just an Elden Ring thing. If you've gotten to this stage in Elden Ring, you'll realize that nothing ever happens as soon as the boss moves. It always like sort of hangs in the air for a second and then happens. But yeah, it's definitely the kind of boss you need to like see every attack to then go, ah, that's when it comes, kind of thing. So yeah, learning the timings. It's really fun though. Definitely not frustrating fight, I didn't think. Damage-wise, as a mage, like I mentioned before, I was focusing on Frostbite because it just feels cool to fight fire with ice. However, I did switch to Comet, which is a much higher, heavier hitting spell, while he was frostbitten, because as an enemy is frostbit, it takes more damage. But yeah, that was my sort of offense overall. Back to talking about individual attacks. Firstly, we will look at the grab attack. So he'll do this in both phases, but it's equally deadly in each. I had about 60 vigor, and this could one-shot me if I didn't have full health. So you'll know when this is coming because he'll have like a sort of fiery hand and sort of like trot towards you, all like creeper style. The timing on this I found quite tricky to learn in the beginning, but he does do this tiny little skip right before he grabs you. So as soon as you see him start to do that little skip, you hear the sound effect as well if you do have sound effects on. So as soon as you hear and see that little skip, that's when you roll to avoid the grab. I was finding if I was caught by the grab, I was getting killed. So this was one that I prioritized as learning how to dodge as soon as possible. Okay, so Messmer has what I'm going to call a big combo and a small combo. Both of them quite overwhelming because they both kind of look the same, but here's how to tell which one is which. So the big combo, he'll swirl his spear around him, make a fiery heckin' swirl, sort of horizontally. And the smaller combo, it's like a vertical somersault. So that's how you tell which one's which. The smaller combo is vertical, the bigger combo is horizontal. So back to the bigger combo, you got the two sort of fire swirls that go around him horizontally as he jumps into the air. This is very, very timing based, this combo. It can be super, super overwhelming. What you want to do is you want to roll forward as soon as you see him jump into the air. For either of these combos, he's jumped into the air, you're rolling forward towards him. He's then going to sail over you. You want to wait a beat because he doesn't attack right away. As he starts to thrust downwards repeatedly, you're going to roll forward twice to avoid these. Then he's going to hang in the air just for a split second before smashing down. So you do your two rolls, wait for him, roll back, and then roll back again. So if you do a double roll there, you're going to miss him smashing down, and you're also going to miss him bringing out all of his spears from the ground. This, like I said, it's quite overwhelming, but once you realize it's literally just like forward, forward, beat, back, back, it's not so bad. And you just feel amazing when you manage to get it. It's great. His smaller combo, which he does just as often, if not more, once again, you'll see it coming. He jumps into the air, vertical somersault, roll forward through that. This one's a bit simpler. He's simply going to do a thrusting uppercut. So you're going to dodge that, leap, wait a beat, and then he's going to slam down, so you're going to dodge back to avoid that. This is a really, really good window here to return fire because you're going to be quite close to him as opposed to the big combo where I was a bit nervous and I would roll back. I mean, you can roll forward for the big combo, but I was like, ugh. I tended to just wait for the smaller one. So you can return fire here, or you can drink if you need to. Less scary attacks, he does have a fireball. The main thing to keep in mind with this is that it does have a delay because it's Elden Ring, it's got a delay. So he'll cast a fireball that's going to hang in the air. It's then going to pulse, it's going to do a pulse, and then it's going to fire at you. So if you just wait for the pulse and then roll, you'll avoid that. One thing to keep in mind though is that this is not always a safe place to drink or counterattack because he does love a good thrust right after the fireball. So I was finding if he's doing the fireball, this is not a safe time to attack after avoiding it. So what I do is after you dodge the fire, so you're rolling once, if you just roll a second time towards him just in case he is readying a thrust, then you've already dodged that. And if not, you're in a good place to see what he does next. Speaking of thrusting, the Impaler loves a good thrust. He has a combo. Quite often after he'll do, well, he's got, in phase 1, he's got like non-fiery thrusts and fiery thrusts. How many times can I say thrust before I get demonetized? What I did notice after he does a fiery thrust, he will then do a 3-hit combo. Bear in mind, it'll be the third hit. The timing on the third hit is a little bit off. There is a small like beat before the third one. Don't roll backwards for this. You're going to roll forward or to the side. Actually, to the side. I'm just going to say roll to the side because it does have really big reach. This final sort of thrust has really big reach. So that's worth keeping in mind as well. Hopefully you manage to avoid all that and you get to phase 2. Phase 2 has all of the same attacks in phase 1 plus the kind of intimidating factor of having giant undead snakes coming at you, Rykard style. But especially if you already have like practice on Rykard, the snakes use very similar animations like to Rykard's Great Serpent when that is thrusting at you. So I kind of felt like I already knew the timing to avoid the snakes coming biting at you. He'll have multiple different options. He's either going to summon a single portal, which will appear behind him in the air, a beat, and then a snake will come. Found the timing on this not too bad. As I said, it's just mostly the same as Rykard's timing. If you see him start to gather a big red pool around him on the ground, that means he is going to summon multiple portals. So as a mage, I had the advantage of range. So what I would just do for this, I would just run backwards, and all of the first ones would miss me. The only one I would have to dodge would be the last one. The combo is over by then trying to spawn underneath you. So as soon as you see a black pool on the ground underneath you, you're going to dodge out of that. Wait for the snake to emerge, open its mouth, and then dodge the bite. It's all quite slow, especially if you are using lock-on. It's just getting used to the timing on that. This final part where he spawns a big pool under you, this can actually happen on its own as well. Of course you can block it, but like I said, I do think this fight is relatively easy to just dodge everything. So it means you can free up some equipment burden by not having a shield. If at any point you see a snake appear that has a big fiery orb in its mouth, this is exactly the same as Messmer's charged explosion from phase 1. I don't know what to call it. It will slam down on top of you, and then there will be a beat, and then it will explode. So you're going to want to do the exact same strategy. It'll pulse, dodge it as it hits you. Once the sound effect's over, you dodge again. It's not just like 2 rolls right after the other. There is a tiny little bit of space and time between the 2 rolls, so you can avoid everything. Another new attack in phase 2 is he will do a backstep that has a bit of a twirl, which is then followed up by a charging thrust very, very fast. You're not actually going to see this happening. You're going to want to dodge this in anticipation. So as soon as you see him do his little backstep, I was already thinking about dodging to the side to avoid that charging thrust. For me, again, as a range, this was a really, really good time to counterattack with 1, sometimes even 2 spells. But yeah, keep an eye out for that backstep. It's very, very recognizable. He always charges at you when he does this backstep. Okay, so just to summarize, the best times to attack and or heal are right after he attacks, obviously. If the combo is finished and you have enough stamina to dodge right after it, then go for it, get a little hit in, but it is a stamina management fight. For me, I quite liked attacking after the small combo, the one where he leaps in the air and then jumps down on you. After the snake portal combo, you have a lot of time as well because he's sort of like a bit dazed when he comes back out through the portal. The charging thrust, but again, I don't know if you'll struggle a bit if you're melee for that one. You could maybe like close the gap with a jumping attack. And the grab, he does still do the grab in phase 2 as well. After you dodge this, really good window to get an attack in there as well. And of course, after the leap and the snake combos, which always end with that sort of pulse, targeted, slam, and then follow-up explosion, you'll have time after that to get a few attacks in as well. I was getting some Adula's Moonblade in there. That was great. Nice and close. My advice is definitely for when you're first starting to learn this fight and learn the timings, is to really hold yourself back to do 1 attack or drink. Do 1 action in a safe window, and then you'll start to realize, oh, I could have done 2 there, and you'll start to learn it from there. That's what helped me. Just patience. He's not actually got a lot of health, especially if by this stage they've buffed skadoosh fragments. So if by this stage you have like level 5 or level like even higher than that, you're going to be doing a lot of damage to him. He's not got a lot of health. And that is how to beat Messmer. If you want to add anything, please do feel free in the comments below, whether it's some melee strategies, or if maybe you just want to talk about the lore of flippin' Messmer being Marika's son. Oh, we knew it! We flippin' knew it! Please don't hesitate. We've got a lovely community down in the comments below. Like the video if it helped you out, or if you just like me, or if you just like chocolate or puppies or sunshine. And subscribe for more Elden Ring videos and Dark Souls videos and all sorts of heckin' videos. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.